It's probably no secret to you at this point that I have zero formal culinary training. I've always learned how to cook by just getting in the kitchen and trying things out, but also I find inspiration by travel, going to new restaurants, and talking to different chefs. And one of the beautiful things about building out this studio is I now have the ability to bring the inspiration right here in this kitchen. So you're gonna start seeing a lot of new faces around here, and today I have a chef coming over who rose through the ranks of one of the most successful 3 Michelin-star restaurants in the world to now find himself extremely popular for his unique brand of fried chicken. Where did you grow up?
I grew up mostly in Long Island, a little bit in Queens for a while. My family always had restaurants around that area. So their first restaurant was in Queens. It's like in the Fresh Meadows area, and that's where this whole thing started. That was Peking House, which became Pecking House when we started doing the fried chicken. I was actually just actively discouraged from cooking because I was a musician and God forbid I hurt my hands. Music and studying, where it was such an isolated craft, being alone and working on stuff, and it just wasn't for me. So I cooked in Chicago while I was in school, and after I graduated school for like 2 years. I felt that I still wanted to go to culinary school, so I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park. After I graduated from there, I've been cooking in New York City ever since.
So I know you worked at 11 Madison, which was one of the top restaurants in the world at the time, and you were working there. How was that experience?
Oh, I mean, difficult to sum up in a word, but if it was
Give me one word, actually.
Intense. It's probably the best word in every single way. That
military stuff.
Oh, super, strict and stringent culture. But from a training perspective and coming up as a cook, it's like an invaluable and irreplaceable kind of training. You don't really find that anywhere else. And yeah, of course, it's not pleasant a lot of the time, but I do look back on it very fondly. But going through it was really hard.
So you're coming out of that intensity. How did you find fried chicken?
That was an accident. It was kind of a strange moment in the pandemic. My uncle's restaurant, my uncle was running that restaurant, Peking House, for the last 20 years or so. It had closed at lockdown and they were unable to remain open, unfortunately. And we kind of got in there and was just like, what can we do to kind of keep this place going? But the kitchen was quite old and there was not a lot we could do, so we tried a bunch of different recipes. Obviously, we really liked the fried chicken recipe, but it helped that the fryers were like the only reliable equipment we had. So
Interesting.
Yeah, so we were kind of like forced down that path unknowingly, but we started selling the chicken via Instagram just to my friends and friends of friends, and that was the goal, to cobble together 30 orders a week. But then we got a little press hit, and then things exploded from there. After that, just had 800-900 messages waiting in my Instagram inbox, and that's how we came up with the Waitlist. There was no way I was gonna be able to serve all this chicken to everybody, so it just kind of kept rolling. We kept having momentum, and then eventually, the Waitlist would reach, 8, 9, 10,000 people, and it would take us like 9 to 10 weeks to get to people. It was crazy, and we did that for a year during the pandemic. So it was an interesting kind of explosion and unexpected growth. And
that's what we're making today.
And that's what we're making today. So we start with a whole chicken here. Ideally for frying is between 3 1/4 to 4 pounds. We're gonna start with the legs here. So we'll cut between each leg and the breast, cutting around the oyster, taking the leg off. Repeat this with our other leg and thigh. Then we're gonna just bisect the leg by cutting it right at the knee joint. And then we'll go into cutting the back off. We'll take a knife, pass through the spine here, and just break it down all the way down to the neck. And we'll cut our wings off. So now we're left with our breast. We're gonna split this into 4, and then we will cut each breast in half from there. Obviously the top of the breast is a little thicker than the bottom, so you wanna account for that as much as you can.
Done like someone who has butchered a lot of chicken.
It's a pretty traditional 10-piece country cut, but the way I do it is probably because I use their cleavers, Chinese cleavers always in the restaurants. I've done speed trials before. I can get it down pretty fast.
Oh, I've never heard of a chicken butchering speed trial. What's your top time?
I think my top time is 22 seconds, 23 seconds.
Holy shit.
My goal is to catch Martin Yan. He's like a famous Chinese chef.
Watch. I need this. You go up and down, up and down. One cut, another cut comes out like this, and a whole little piece. Nice and done.
So once we have our chicken broken down, we're gonna move into marinating in our buttermilk. First thing we need to make is our seasoning mix. We use this throughout the entire restaurant, and it's used many times in just the chicken itself. It's a mixture of kosher salt, sugar, and MSG. Kind of has all the balance necessary to bring out the inherent meatiness in chicken and any meat really. And then next we'll make our marinade. So we'll start off with the buttermilk. Next a bit of Dijon mustard. Add a bit of our seasoning mix, 5-spice, garlic powder, and onion powder, and all-purpose flour. So we're gonna mix this together, make a little paste, and then we bring in our chicken.
So this is more of like it's like a paste.
It's goopy.
It's goopy.
It's a goopy marinade.
And you've learned that the goop is the way to go?
It is, yeah. Both from efficiency and flavor profile.
Efficiency?
Well, I think normal buttermilk fried chicken would be, there would not be flour in it, so it would be marinated in buttermilk, which does have thickness and stuff, but then you'd have to go buttermilk, flour, buttermilk again, and then flour again.
And how do you feel about, skin on versus skin off with the fried chicken?
I'm very passionate about skin on. I think chicken skin is the best part of fried chicken, and it helps the dredge adhere to it. Very pro chicken skin at Peking House. And then that's really it. Oh no, I'm such an amateur.
God damn, Eric, you're fired.
I know, dude. Go home. Can I redo this? Yeah. Go home, Eric. All right, there we go. Covering it.
And by the magic of television, what do we got over there?
Oh, we have this.
Eric is here for one day.
Yeah, we we put a little something in the hyperbolic time chamber and got ourselves a marinated chicken for 24 hours.
So now we'll put this aside. We need to make your famous spice mix.
Yes. So we have Tianjin chilies, then we have our dried Sichuan peppercorns, our smoked powder, rice vinegar powder. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna toast our Sichuan peppercorns. This is just over high heat in a pan, and you'll see that they'll start smoking and getting really aromatic, and that's kind of the cue when they're ready. And then we'll move on to our chilies. The chilies are gonna have a lot of cues as to when they're ready. They're gonna take on a little bit of blistering and a little bit of color. I actually kind of like listening for this like dry rattling that is gonna mean like you've driven off all the excess moisture and they're starting to get a little bit of toast on it, and that's it. So now everything has been toasted, and we're gonna add everything to a blender, and it's gonna get a little pepper sprayish up in here. Then our Sichuan peppercorns, our seasoning mix, smoked powder, and sugar, and then we'll just blend this all into a fine powder. You don't want it too fine, because then it's gonna be really hot. But there's like kind of a in between. This blender is like pretty legit. That's really good.
That like hits you like
Yeah.
a wave.
Yeah.
Now you popping it in the bowl.
Yep, and then we're gonna kind of finish seasoning it, and then we're gonna do the really fun part where we taste it. Yeah.
Taste test.
But we're gonna add some vinegar powder and probably some more sugar and salt as well.
It's basically how you balance the acidity in a dry spice mix.
Sugar and vinegar, they're important, obviously, acid and sweetness to the overall flavor profile of something. So we're gonna kind of balance that as much as we can. So there's everything kind of going on. There's like a little bit of bitterness from the toast, and then obviously there's salt and savoriness from MSG, and then the sugar and vinegar. So it's like
Spicy, sweet, salty.
yeah, it's got a lot of complexity, yeah. So we're finishing up our spice mix, and now we just need to incorporate the duck fat. We'll put about a quart in a saucepan and just melt it down so it's not ripping hot. You don't want to fry anything in it, but just so it's warm enough to flow. This was kind of inspired by the way Nashville chicken, they use the fryer oil mixed with cayenne pepper to make that paste that they brush over it, and we figured we'd use duck fat because duck fat's delicious.
It's like a buffalo sauce on crack.
It definitely has a lot going on in it. It's gonna be hot, and it's gonna look really intimidating, but if we did it right, it's gonna be pleasantly spicy in a good way, and it's gonna have that numbing sensation, and there's gonna be a lot of flavor in there, so.
It is all happening.
We're getting
First
there.
of all, I did buy this specifically for this video.
I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to play with it.
We are
So here we
christening
go.
this beautiful, clear frying pot. So now we've got the gooped up chicken.
Yep.
That's marinated for a day. What's the final step?
Goopy, dry, get it all, the breading into the fry. So our dredge is AP flour here. This is usually where it would stop for a lot of country fried chicken. You would add seasonings and salt, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder to this, but we add potato starch and cornstarch. Them all combined kind of makes it really work. But flour doesn't get quite as ultra crispy as these pure starches do, which is why we like to kind of do a mix of all of it.
Yeah, best of all worlds.
Yeah.
So then you're also adding
Seasoning mix here, which we used before, salt, sugar, MSG, It's kind of the foundation of everything we do at Baking House. So we're just kind of incorporate it all together. Now we're gonna take our chicken, get a nice coating, rolling it all over in the dredge, making sure there's no naked spots. We want crispy, craggly bits on every square centimeter. And then we're gonna gently place it in our fryer for the first fry, the par fry stage.
So what you're doing is you're gonna fry twice. Okay, so we're at 325 Fahrenheit right now.
Yep. And we're gonna fry it first, obviously, to cook it and to par fry the crust, and then it's gonna rest for some time. And then we're gonna fry it again just before we wanna eat it. That's where it will be nice and hot, and then we'll put the chili paste over it, and they become one.
So we have the first fry right here.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, this is like the most craggly chicken of all time. Like,
Yeah.
Can I just?
Yeah, of
please,
course. That's always a good taste test, see how our seasoning's going.
I think you're onto something. Pretty good without sauce.
Yeah, so it's supposed to look like it has lots of texture, obviously. Really craggly, because then when we brush that chili paste over it, you know, it's gonna get caught in all the little pockets. And
So we'll go back in same temperature.
same temperature, just for 2-3 minutes, just to get it hot and crispy again. And then that way when we brush the chili paste over, it's gonna really marry together in the right way. And then as soon as we take it out, we're gonna brush it with our chili paste. It's important that it be pretty warm so that the sauce flows over it and the grease doesn't pool. And then so we're gonna let it drain and then flip it over and do the same thing.
So one of the most intricate fried chickens I've ever seen. Technique through the entire process. I feel like the level of detail, like the seasoning throughout everything, just incredible.
It's a lot of work, but you know, I think it's worth it.
Would you say it's worth it? This is one of the most beautiful sights. Just take a whole chicken broken down, fried up, and just the smell is insane. It's so intoxicating. First of all, the sound effect of that crunch was out of control. Oh my God. Wow. You said you've been out of the fried chicken mode because you've been opening up the restaurant and you were just going for like 2 years straight.
Yeah.
So you felt a little rusty. They certainly don't taste rusty. You got a nice runner right there.
Yeah, okay. I could feel it.
First of all, so juicy.
Buttermilk marinade.
Goddamn juicy.
Yeah.
So tender. Craggly as all hell.
that's the
in
goal.
there.
Yeah, and you know it like looks super spicy, but it's like warm. You know, you can feel it. It's tingling. It's hot, but it's not like you can't taste anything else.
No, but yeah, now that you say it, the peppercorns are numbing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What would you serve something like this with?
We have a house-made hot sauce that we do with it, and we also do a green garlic ranch that we serve with it, and you know,
Green garlic ranch.
Yeah. Spicy fried chicken.
Why don't we have that right now? Wait, I've got a bunch of garlic.
Yeah?
Right now, yeah. Is that something that can be done?
Yeah.
Easily? I kind of like
idea.
This is incredible on its own, but a cooling, creamy ranch would be insane.
Yeah, it helps tie it all together for sure.
All right, well, we're gonna whip that up real quick. We'll take a garden trip. We'll be back in a second.
All right.
Question, do you put any herbs in your...
Green garlic? No, just garlic tops.
We've got it right here, some fresh parsley. Why don't you pick a little bit of that?
Yeah, we could do parsley, we could do cilantro.
Yeah, parsley is...
Yeah, it'll be good.
We have cilantro.
Yeah, we could do a little cilantro too.
So that makes it a little more maybe
over here?
Chinese. Yeah, this is all cilantro.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there's the garlic.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Wow, exciting. I haven't pulled a vegetable out of the ground in a really long time.
No, there's something very natural about digging your hand in some soil.
Pretty nice.
Beautiful. Awesome. Let's make some ranch.
Let's make some ranch. So we're making our green ranch here. We have some herbs, cilantro and parsley from the garden, and fresh spring garlic. We're gonna use almost all the garlic except the part you're probably the most familiar with, the bulb. Green garlic tops are delicious and have a ton of flavor. So we'll just take these leaves and the stem, just kind of roughly chop these up. And then we're going into the blender with some cold canola oil. So once it's all blended and it's fine, we're gonna pour it into a medium saucepan and heat this up. We're gonna just boil it for just a couple minutes to deactivate all the microbes, but we can't cook it too long, otherwise we're just gonna kill the chlorophyll outright. So to keep it green, we're gonna stop the cooking immediately by setting it into an ice bath, and then once it's cool, we will add it to our sauce. So first we'll add some buttermilk, sour cream, some mayo, our onion powder and garlic powder mix, a little pinch of MSG, and then we'll add our beautiful and vibrant green oil, and finally a splash of rice vinegar, and we'll mix this up, season it, and see how it tastes.
So this was epic. Let me give it a taste.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
It's ranchy.
Ranchy. Oh my God. This is like the gourmet version, but it tastes so much like the intensity of the store-bought stuff with the garlic powder and that oil. Is
Yeah, the green garlic oil adds a lot. So you just dip or drip or dunk, whatever feels natural to you. The red and green always works out pretty nice, looks pretty cool.
Wow.
Works with the ranch. I think that's why people like it. It's kind of like a cooling element.
Oh, so good. Thanks for kind of freestyling that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad.
Awesome.
Once I saw garlic, I was like, oh, here we go.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
It's cool to see how you just kind of ended up, slinging fried chicken, like out of nowhere, coming from fine dining.
Yeah.
But what really hit me was definitely the technique and effort put into something like that really shows in the final process.
Cool. I'm glad it comes through. Yeah. There's a lot of work that goes into it.
Comes through hard. So you're in the process of getting a restaurant up and going.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in Brooklyn.
Yeah, so we're gonna be opening up in Prospect Heights, and should be a couple, 2-3 weeks or so. It's been a very long journey getting to this point, and this is the first time this is gonna be our restaurant. We've operated out of other people's restaurants for some time.
And this product will be the star of the show.
Will be the star of the show. We're riding the chicken train.
Ride it through the end, my friend. Love me some good fried chicken.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you. All right. That's it. See you in the next episode.